Steve Ditko is? He's pretty much the creator, Spider-Man. Like, I mean, he's no longer alive. But he's one of the creators of Spider-Man with also Stan Lee. It was not just Stan Lee, like the sole creator of it, which is like I don't think that's known as like as well as if people are not into comics. People probably think that Stan Lee created those heroes alone. But no, it was actually co-created. And I believe Stedico also created Doctor Strange as well because uh right here is this came out today is Steve Ditko's estate attempts to reclaim Spider-Man and Doctor Strange copyrights. And what that means is they want to like attain all of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man rights. So that means that they will no longer be in Sony, MCU, or anything like that. They could literally take these characters anywhere. In hindsight, so the State of Comic Legends, Ditko's attempt to reclaim copyright on Ditko's co-creation Spider-Man and Doctor Strange from Marvel Comics. The State Comic Legends Steve Ditko has filed notice of termination with the United States Copyright Office with regards to copyrights of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange that are currently held by Marvel Entertainment. So Marvel owns the animation rights, toys, I believe as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like yeah, animations, toys, games. Not MC, not the movie rights. Sony owns the movie rights for that for the whole Spider-Man universe. Um, but yeah, Digo as co-creator of both characters is attempt to use their right introduced in 1976 Copyright Act that allows creators to terminate copyrights of works that the creators have previously assigned to another person or entity. The trick here, though, is that the right only exists if you transfer the copyright of the character to another person slash entity. Entity. Sorry. If you instead created the characters as work for hire, the other person that is considered the originator of the copyright, thus you cannot request termination. Here, Marvel Entertainment claims that Steve Ditko created these characters as work for hire, thus cannot actually terminate the copyrights to the characters. So if that's the case, I mean, like back in the day, I'm pretty sure not many people like copywriters like really thought about the characters and like try to keep the rights to the characters. They're just creating characters that was like just for the sake of the comic book. Because we already heard about all these like creators or comic book curators not owning any of the rights to any of these characters when they're the under umbrella of DC, Marvel, or even some indies here and there. Um, indies a little bit like indies you own mostly you own the rights to your character, but like in Marvel and DC. You most likely you do not own them unless you like say, hey, I created this character, I want royalties or something like that. But I don't think a lot of comic book artists done that, especially back in the day. I don't know if they do that now. When they create a new character, I don't know what they do now. I don't know if the comic book creator, like the writer or the artist, since like co-creators now, or unless it's a soul that does the art and the story. Just they don't own the rights to them anymore, or to ask for the rights to them, like, hey, I want the rights to this character, which I don't think Marvel will say yes. So I don't think they will approve a new character unless they own the rights to that character. That's what I'm thinking. So if you instead right here. So Project as Ditko is taking Marvel Entertainment into Inc. to court. This will be interesting to follow. Yes, this is very interesting because, like, say for example, if they're successful, prove that he does own the rights to the characters, that means that Spider-Man and Doctor Strange will no longer be in the MCU, Sony, or anything like that because they could also get the rights for the movies too as well. Like the whole termination of the copyright of the character as a whole is gone. MCU cannot use it. Marvel cannot use it. And also Sony cannot use Spider-Man at all. So like they will have sole control of this character. So say if they want to do like if they end up getting these characters for some reason, if it does if it's successful, they could easily bring them in DC if they want to, or in the indie publishers or something like that. They could easily do that because they own the rights to the characters and they can make deals with them. And of course, companies are going to jump on that. because Spider-Man is well known, and now Doctor Strange is well known too as well. Um, so here's a quick explainer of what's the difference between assigning your copyright to another person's entity versus creating a copyrighted work as work for hire. When Jerry Siegel and Jules Schuster created Superman, they had the character already written out, drawn when they agreed to sell it to National Allied Publications, now DC. So that's clearly a case where Siegel and Schuster assigned the right to National Allied DC before. Therefore, DC and its current owner Warner Brothers had to work out deals with Siegel and certain estates to maintain copyright on Superman. When Siegel sold the character, the copyright lasted 28 years, with the right to renew for an additional 28 years, making it a total of 56 years. In 1976, Congress extended the renewal period to 28 years to 48 years and increased to 19 years, making it a total of 75 years. At the time, Congress decided that people who transferred copyright before 1978, when the extension kicked in, deserves the chance to terminate the transfer to gain the benefit of the extra 19 years. Their theory was that when people sold their copyright, they did so under the idea it will be for 56 years, since now for 75 years. The creator of the original work, or their heirs, sorry, heirs, get back the copyright for an extra time, presumably to get a financial compensation again, and the copyright still had value. Practice Ditko's brother and heir, is the one who requested this termination. Here, the termination notice for Spider-Man, and here is one for Doctor Strange. Now, under work for hire, if you are hired by a company to create a work for them, they will be considered the owner of the work. You will not be able to reclaim copyright as the original copyright owner would be. In instance, Marvel Comics never and never wait what always work and never Steve Ditko. So pretty much like, oh, freelance, I want you to create this character, like for example right here, right, someone hired me to create this character right here, right, like my own version of Frankenstein, but let's say it's in a more original character, right, and somebody, a company hired me to create a character for them, and they are gonna use it for video games, stuff like that. It's up to me to be like, all right, cool. You guys want to own the rights to it? You guys got to pay me whether like a full amount for this character, or you got like I want to get royalties for any time this character is used on any media, books, games, movies, TV shows, etc. Right? It does like or toys, whatever. Um, so if the artist does not say anything specifically like that, especially for freelancing or if you work for a company, that means you automatically they own the rights. Company owns the rights. And then if you do freelance, you gotta make it clear, hey, this is just for personal use or this is for commercial use. And that's what I like. I when I talk with a client or an art when somebody hires me to do an artwork, especially for a brand new character, a painting, mostly digital art more than traditional art. But it's always good to discuss it just in case. They're like, hey, I own the rights to this character. Is this gonna be freelance? Is this gonna be a personal use or commercial use? And then that's why you pretty much write a contract for it and making sure things are clear and bound and all that stuff. And also, like, is it forever or is it only for a couple years? That's another thing. Like, I don't think a lot of artists like talking to say, "Oh yeah, you own the rights. Just give me $500 for it." And then, or nowadays, usually people ask for 1,000 to 2,000 or more. It depends on the type of character they're going for or what they're creating for. Um, so a few years back, Jack Kirby, which is one of the, like god in comic book world, airs attempt to terminate all copyrights for Jack's creations for Marvel, claiming Kirby did not create his work as work for hire, but rather as an independent contractor who then transferred the rights to his creations to Marvel for money. There are a lot of different tests determining whether someone was work for hire or not. Marvel never moved from this position that Kirby's creations were done as work for hire, but the company ultimately settled with Kirby's heir for millions of dollars. So I mean, if they prove that there was no contract, like where Steve Ditko was like an employee of the company, is more freelancing, then they have a chance of taking off Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Unless, of course, like, all right, we'll give you $1 billion for them. Especially Spider-Man, he is worth about $1 billion or more. The character alone, He's that brandable. He is that iconic. He's one of the most iconic characters of all time. You know, so if they're paying millions for Jack Kirby's creations, was like his characters are known, but not the caliber of like Spider Man, right? And also Doctor Strange as well, but mostly Spider Man. Is looking for like so it's possible that Ditko's brother is looking for a similar Spider-Man, or he believed that he can prove that Ditko did not create Spider-Man and Doctor Strange is a work for hire. In the case of Doctor Strange, here is how Stanley described his creation back when Doctor Strange debuted. Well, we have a new character in the works for Strange Tales. It's a 5-page filler named Doctor Strange. Ditko is gonna draw him in a sort of a black magic theme. The first story is nothing great, but perhaps we can make something of him. Um, it was Steve's idea. I figured we'd give it a chance, although again we had to rush to the first one. We had to rush the first one too much. Little sidelight. Originally, we decided to claim Mr. Strange, but thought that Mr. was a bit too similar to Mr. Fantastic. Now, however, I remember we have a villain called Doctor Strange just recently in our max. I hope it won't be too confusing. Whether it be considered Ditko creation, the character is selling him to Marvel versus trading him for Marvel as a work for hire is an interesting question and what might play out the copyright courts on the settlements reached between the two parties. So pretty much, it could be a big deal. Especially, I mean, it's gonna be a big deal either regardless. Like if they prove it, Disney is playing. It's gonna pay a lot of money for them. Like I think it's gonna be close to $1 billion. I mean, if I was his like if I was a brother to Ditko, and I proved that like pretty much I could terminate the rights and get the rights back to a character like Spider Man, and they were like, all right, what do you want for Spider Man? I'm like, you gotta give me $1 billion, like nothing less. You cannot give me less. It has to be $1 billion or nothing. Because if you think about it, if I own the rights to Spider Man, I could like partially sell rights to other companies that will take on Spider Man and make products for Spider Man. And I will make more than $1 billion because Spider Man is a well known brand character. That's what I'm the way I'm thinking, right? And also Doctor Strange too, as well. And bringing more Doctor Strange products with him because now he's more popular since he's been introduced in the MCU. Um, so that is it's gonna be very interesting. What's gonna happen with Spider Man, and all the characters of Spider Man, all the characters created in the Spider Man world. Because I like the rights I don't believe they're just it's just not the rights is just for those two characters, but not the universe of Spider Man characters, right? Like they can't get the rights to Green Goblin unless he created it, like Green Goblin or Black Cat or any of the new characters, Miles Morales, stuff like that, right? They can't get any of the rights to them. So pretty much it's like the history of Spider-Man will be kind of like won't be deleted, but will be gone for like in the future and all that. And all they're gonna really depend on Miles Morales taking on like the like being the new main Spider-Man now or something. So I don't know. It's really crazy to think about like if that actually happens, which is it's very possible. I mean, it happened with like we read earlier with Jack Kirby. You know what I mean? It's very possible, and of course they're gonna settle something out. But I'll just say like, hey, you gotta give me $1 million. Not a million. I'll get ripped off with that. You gotta give me $1 billion, or I'm out. Like I'll take my rights somewhere else for these two characters. So I'll create a whole universe between these two characters and new characters or something like that, which will be very hard. But they're very brandable now. So I don't know. That's my take on it. And if that actually happens, man, like if that actually happens, but I highly doubt it. I'm pretty sure we'll reach a settlement or something like that for sure. So I mean, Disney has the money for it. But yeah.